everybody. Welcome to Wingman's Hangar, episode... it's 18. Episode 18. Coming at you. I can't believe it either. We've made it this far. We're going to keep chugging along. We've got the week in review. We have forum feedback. Alistair joins us this week with a nice reading and classy rendition as only he can do of our fiction. We've got wide world news and, of course, the interview with our audio director, Martin Galway. Actually, really in-depth. You'll want to stay tuned for that. It's pretty cool. So let's get right to it, shall we? The week in review. Boy, it was a big week this week at Cloud Imperium. We've got a lot of stuff. Today's probably the biggest Friday we've ever had as far as stuff we're releasing out there to you guys. We have the Aurora brochure coming out today. We have Jump Point coming out for subscribers. And there's some new stuff that the Aurora's coming out. We want to call to action for, a lot of folks in the forums. I think we've got about 40,000 people that are there chugging along with us, enjoying what we're doing, but they haven't actually decided to become a backer. And so we might have something special going on that might help you tip that scale, hopefully. We have Jeff Cavett joined us this week and Ted Bergeron, two artists. Unbelievable. We've also got some more programmers coming, and 4 more people coming in the next 2 weeks. It's growing like a weed. Not to mention the LA office is going up and running. It's just stinking amazing what's going on here. We got an Austin pizza gift from Joseph Browning. Incredible.
Pizza over here!
Don't put the pizza there! It's over here! Pizza!
Where's that going in the conference room?
Conference room, man. Come on, follow me.
There we go.
Scraping it
It's
now.
just healthy for you.
Low carb, they give you crap.
Hey, your cheeseless pizza.
This is my son.
Thanks to the fans.
Who has the best fans in the world? Seriously.
Pepperoni and garlic.
You went right to the pepperoni and garlic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you! Thanks to Joseph
Yeah.
Browning, baby.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Woo!
Thanks for making me fatter.
Please cut that part. Incredible. And for those of you wondering, it's a lot was made of this that I've started a diet, right? A little Weight Watchers going on. I can still have pizza. It's not actually Weight Watchers. It's more of a low carb thing. But I can still have pizza. I just have to scrape the top. I just don't eat the bread. Still working out well. Let's take a look at where we're at now. We started at 236 pounds. Oof, I know that was huge. And then we were down to 222 last week. How did we do this week? Well, 2 more pounds, baby! Yeah, I know. I'm excited about it, too. And by the way, thank you very much for some of you who've written in and said that there's a bottle of scotch waiting for me at the end of this at 185. If there's nothing more motivating to me than scotch, I can tell you that right now. Incredible. Thank you very much for that. And I am going to chug there, and we're going to have some nice scotch drinking together. Maybe on the show. Can't get any different, can it? Maybe. Also, we've got vodka came in this week from Fireball and Merck Corporation.
Looks like we got another package, fellas, and it says must be 21 to open, so that leaves skeleton out.
Oh, let's see what it's from first. Let's see what it says.
Thanks to everyone from Cloud Imperium Games Corporation for bringing back Space Combat Sims and developing our game. Cheers to the Merck Corporation. P.S. Eric and team, please leave something over for Chris Roberts.
No.
Oh, dude, Hangar 1.
Nice.
No
Hangar
way.
1 vodka. That is
No way.
badass.
Hangar 1 Spice Pear. Hangar 1 Straight. Well, that leaves you out, Mark. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Best fans in the world.
Woo!
Appreciate it. Work's over. Let's drink.
Again, your generosity is overwhelming, and of course we're going to save some from Chris. He just might be here next week, You never know. It's time for a little Chris Roberts action, I believe. That takes us, to this segment, Forum Feedback. Let's take it away. From Waltar, he says, if planets are the right size, will there be asteroid belts around them so we can spend days there prospecting and mining? Yeah, of course. Anything you can see in the universe nowadays, asteroid belts, rings around planets, things of that nature, nebulas. We're going to have all of that in Star Citizen, and if it's there, we want to put gameplay into it. So, yeah, absolutely. They'll be mining around planets. They'll be mining on asteroid belts. They'll be mining nebulas. They'll be mining all kinds of just mining. There's be stuff to do, and all the features we put in the Star Citizen universe. From Rebook, he says,
each of the ships we've seen all have what looks like a latrine.
Okay.
Will there be an in-game facility for use of the ship's quote-unquote facilities?
When you gotta go, you gotta go. All right, come on, man. We are not making a game about toilets. The only potty humor you get around here are, well, this show. From Atomic Hawk, they say, with all the talk on the forums of player-owned housing, does the dev team have any opinions about it? Will it be guaranteed feature as people are hoping? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you think about it, the hangar is your forum housing. It's just that you're going to get it way earlier than you would in normal time. I mean, normally you'd be getting it when the game comes out or you have to buy it in the universe, but we're doing the hangar now. And I got to tell you, Forrest, some of the guys are hard at work, and it's stinking looking amazing, and I can't wait to show it to you. We want to get it just right. We're very particular. We want you guys to see how good it is. So we can't show you too early. We don't want to be letting the cat out of the bag, to say. So yeah, absolutely. The answer to the question is your hangar will be your in-game housing. From Thor 3891.
In regard to Star Citizen servers, would someone in Australia be able to play on the American servers or vice versa? And would our characters be able to be cross-server, or how would we be able to transfer them? What would that mechanism be?
That's a really good question, and it's something we're still working out. But if you think about it, we are primarily a dogfighting game. I mean, so ping is going to matter. So the way we're thinking about it right now is that the proximity of where you are located physically in the world will be most of the players around you. Of course, because we don't know, the effect on dogfighting that a 100 millisecond ping will have or a 20 millisecond ping. We seem to think the sweet spot is around 50 milliseconds, but guess what? You guys are going to actually help test it out and find out for us. Without you, we would not know. So this is kind of one of the reasons we're doing the dogfighting module, is because we can discover these kind of things. If somebody in Australia wants to play somebody in England, what happens? Can they play, and does the dogfighting work? And is there a way for us to balance it to where everybody can play everybody, or else do we have to localize or centralize around different servers? So that's to be determined, and we're really counting on you guys to help us out. From Sliver, they say, will the Aurora be the smallest, cheapest ship we can acquire for standard travel, or will it be something even more basic, except, of course, board ships like the P-52? Well, the Aurora is the starter ship, but that doesn't mean it's cheap. The Aurora comes from the Robert Space Industries, dun, 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 the same company that makes the Constellation. And it's going to be a pretty nice piece of equipment. So don't think of it as cheap. In fact, when you look at it here on the brochure that comes out today, I think you might just change your mind. It is one sweet-looking vehicle. From CNKB, will we be able to buy lifetime insurance with in-game credits or real cash when the game comes out? Well, that's a really good question. We have a lot of questions about lifetime insurance. The way it was anybody that had been an early pledger got lifetime insurance. We sort of cut that off at the date, and we've been inundated with folks saying, I want lifetime insurance, I want lifetime insurance. We're considering that. Maybe we'll open up a small window for those of us before the new site comes up. There might be another way to earn it, let's say. Pay attention to what goes on the website soon. From Sign to Win, or Sin to Win. Will the star map represent the true shape of a galaxy, with a central core consisting of many stars and black holes, as well as spiral arms that branch off the hub? Well, I mean, that's a good question, but the truth of the matter is, you got it with only 150 or 100, however many systems we have, 100, 115, 150, whatever we end up getting on launch, and we'll grow from there. It's not going to be like the entire galaxy. Think of it, if you're in the arm of the Milky Way, you might have hundreds of systems right on one of the fringe elements out there. That's kind of where we're going to be. So it'll be spherical, and it will be jump points can connect, from system to system, or they might wrap around and connect to another one based on the fiction that we put together. So we're not going to create a galaxy per se. It's going to be more about the star system universe, which will continue to grow, and maybe eventually that becomes a galaxy. We're still talking about this 10 years from now, yeah, but let's hope that happens. Here's an interesting video we just got in.
Yeah, this question is for the Wingman. Last week, somebody asked you a question about tracking IR, and you answered with the Oculus Rift. Can you get it right, please? Thank you.
Come on, I answered this last week. Of course we're going to have track IR support. And it's now time for the newest segment on the show, Hot Topics. Take it away, Brittany.
Thank you, Eric. That's right. Our fans spoke and we listened. So we killed Hot Topics from the show. But you can't get rid of me that easily. So here we are to premiere the MVP, the most valuable post of the week. We'd like to begin this new segment by celebrating one of our favorite forum threads, NetAndy's Guide to Star Citizen. NetAndy has put together such an incredible list of links. It's so comprehensive that even the Cloud Imperium team uses it to check their own facts. So thank you, NetAndy. You are our MVP. Back to you, Eric.
Thanks, Brittany. Love the new segment. Think that's going to be a winner for us. And now it's time for our own Alistair Fitzsmithy and some classy Star Citizen fiction. This time he's reading a bit written by D&D game designer and novelist Douglas Niles. Take it away, Alistair.
Good evening, or depending on your worldview, well, you know the rest. Today's prologue is the calm before a rather nasty bit of business. The Void Rats by Douglas Niles. Lieutenant Commander Naya Antoinette felt, in her belly, the familiar flutter of Jump Point Passage as her F-7 Hornet emerged into known space. She banked up and around and stabilized her ship. Lieutenant Jackson's droll voice immediately crackled over her comm. "Hey, Skip, what can go wrong?" Naya caught the brief flash of Jackson's thrusters as he veered in the opposite direction, circling around to keep the shimmering jump point in his eyes, and in his forward-firing laser gatlings. The other two pilots arced around with equal speed, so that all 4 Hornets reached ready stations. Naya was grimly resolved that she would do her job, and see that her team did theirs, no matter how long it took. First order of business, make sure the coast was clear, and be ready to escort their support ship when it arrived. Africanus would either emerge from the jump, or she would not. Probably she would, but Antoinette's memory of that decrepit old warship did not inspire confidence. The story continues in issue number 5 of Jump Point. I'm Alistair Sinclair Fitzsmithy. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and good night.
And now it's time for Wide World News. NASA astronomers continue to find Earth-like planets in distant star systems. This time, 2 possible worlds a mere 1,200 light-years away.
Earth is the lone oceanic planet in the family of the Sun. Now, imagine a planetary system with 2 of them. Astronomers may have found just such a system. And the 2 water worlds orbiting there are among the closest analogs of Earth yet found. The star, Kepler-62, about 1,200 light-years away in the constellation Lyra, is like our Sun, but smaller and cooler. So the habitable orbits, where water can be liquid, are closer in. Each of the 2 candidate water worlds could be entirely covered by a global ocean, according to astronomers' computer models. Orbiting once every 122 Earth days, Kepler-62e could be tropical, humid and hot, with a very cloudy atmosphere. It's perhaps 60% bigger than Earth. Further out, in a 267-day orbit, Kepler-62f is about 40% larger than Earth. And it's almost surely cooler. In fact, it could be an ice ball from pole to pole, unless it has a lot of carbon dioxide in its atmosphere. These 2 share their star with 3 less hospitable planets, orbiting too close in, and so too hot for liquid water. With no land masses and no chance for fire, it's hard for us to visualize how any intelligent inhabitants could build a technological society on a totally oceanic world. But imagine for a moment growing up on a planet from which you could see the lights of cities on another. Surely that would give you good reason to build spaceships. For Space.com, I'm Dave Brody.
It's important to note that these speculations of Earth-like watery worlds are just that, statistical speculation based on the theorized habitable zone. But isn't it cool? Planets. Well, in space. Where else would they be? And closer to home, our very own weekly weather wizard Peter Mackey is on the job in Beijing. Peter, how's the weather there?
You can really smell the ionized hydrogen exhaust. And the General Tso's chicken. Back to you, Eric.
Thank you, Peter. Looking really good. And speaking of the weather, we understand that tonight is a great time to check out the Aurora Borealis. And that's your Wide World News. And now, an existential break with our very own Mr. Hookah.
So if there's an exception to every rule, is there an exception to that one?
Wasn't that special? And today's Hangar guest is longtime sound designer Martin Galway. Sandy Gardner takes a moment to talk about how he became part of the team here at Cloud Imperium.
Hi there, I'm here with Martin Galway, our Director of Audio. Hey Martin.
Hi Sandy.
And can you introduce yourself to the camera?
I'm Martin Galway. I'm the Director of Audio.
And what does that mean for Star Citizen? Like, what do you do?
Well, I'm responsible for making sure the audio in the game is top-notch. Everything from sound effects to music, actors' voices, character voices, and all the way that the various audio elements are mixed together.
And you go a long way back with Chris Roberts.
That's right. I worked with Chris directly in 1984 on a game.
I think that might take the cake. I think that might take the cake over Eric Peterson as well.
Absolutely.
You were saying you have a family background of music.
Yeah, my family are basically either musicians or teachers of music. So I knew a lot of musical theory as I was growing up as a kid, and when it came to starting as a computer programmer, I was the only one who could program the computer to play music. So I naturally was specialized into that.
What kind of computer was this?
The very first computer I made any sound on was a VIC-20, Commodore VIC-20.
Thank you, Martin Galway, our Director of Audio.
And we're back. And guess who's here? Live. Now, we're a little different location this week because, Martin, you're not going to be here. You're going somewhere here pretty soon.
I'm going on vacation next week, and I'm actually going to visit a composer that we're working on a test with.
Such a dedicated person on Star Citizen that you're actually going to take part of your vacation to meet with a composer.
I know.
But you, yeah. But you live audio, man. You've been doing this a long time.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Now, we've worked on a few games ourselves together. We worked at Origin together. We worked at Digital Anvil. Mm-hmm. And there we did Star Lancer and Conquest Frontier Wars. Mm-hmm. And we won an award on Star Lancer, didn't we? Ooh, just a minute. Check this out. Let me dust it off. Huh? How about that? Look at that, citizens. This is the kind of level of stuff we can expect.
It's a golden reel.
A golden reel for Martin's work on Star Lancer.
Thank you, Scott.
we'll get two of those on Star Citizen, though, because we've got Squadron 42. We've got two chances with Squadron 42 and Star Citizen.
That's true, yeah. Two different games, totally different products.
Yeah, well, two products within one product. Right? Thanks a lot. Yeah, so what do you do on a daily basis? I mean, you're audio director. People want to know, I mean, a lot of the things we do here is what do various disciplines do? Now, you've got a very interesting job. A lot of what you do adds the ambiance, the immersion that Chris is looking for in his products, right?
Right.
So, you want to describe what
how one of them works, or how you set
Well,
some
I
stuff
mean,
up?
our viewers are pretty familiar with games. They have a lot of Foley representing what people do.
Foley is what? Now explain what that is.
Foley is a method of mirroring what you see on the screen by physically making the sounds yourself. And so you watch a screen and you pick things up and bang them around, or you shuffle your clothes around, or you make footstep noises on the ground without really walking anywhere, and you get real close to the microphone. And that's the standard technique for making character sounds.
Now, do we use some of those in Star Citizen? Are we going to be doing some of that?
We are going to be doing our own footfall libraries for different types of deck surfacing and that kind of stuff.
Okay, cool. So you have one of those here you could show us, right?
I just have a simulation from the time before we had any funding. We did the demo in October. We had to do all that in a very, very low budget.
And that's another thing. You've been working on this game a long time already.
Yeah, I started working on this in April of 2012.
So that's 1 year ago today.
That's true. It's right around now. In fact, I think a week ago.
Did you see how fast we can work that math out? It's unbelievable.
It's true. He's very fast.
Yeah, extremely. 1 year, 12 months, every day. So let's see what it looks like. Let's check it out.
All right. Well, in this example, everyone has seen the pilot climb into the cockpit of the Hornet. I had to make a complete suite of sounds for the Foley of the guy climbing in up the little stairway, climbing in, turning all the switches on. As we all know, Chris wants an unbelievable level of detail.
Yeah, he does.
In the show, and
that's what separates his games from everybody else's, though. To be honest.
Right. So I have a complete set of Foley for the guy climbing in and putting on his little belts and all his hoses, switching on all the switches of the craft, and I don't have the sound of the engine powering up in this part, but it's a different layer, which is part of the power plant, part of the spaceship stuff. So this is just the guy climbing in. I also have the deck rumble from the spaceship. Here's what it sounds like. That's the carrier rumble. It just sounds like a big old flight deck. And I have that in the background to work on levels, make sure everything sounds pretty realistic.
So you have to balance all that, right? So it doesn't drown out other stuff and you can still hear the other stuff.
But I'm really working on the Foley here. I have the deck ambience in the background to just keep it company and make sure everything sounds good together.
Okay.
So without that playing, we have this enormous list of things. So he switched on the spaceship by now, adjusting LCD displays, and that's it.
Wow, that's an amazing. Now, how many in that small clip you just did? How many different types of sounds did you have to create?
We could count that.
It looks like quite a few.
It looks to be about 50.
50 sounds in just that one scene. Now, can you imagine, and I'm sure you have imagined, can you imagine that we're going to have X number of ships to have to do that? And you'll have to create that level of detail for each one of them, right?
It's pretty hard because I'm using a conventional post-production editor to put these sounds together against a recording of the animation editor playing the sounds. But each sound has to be individually separated out and then connected to the correct part of the pilot's body. So as he climbs in, it's in the right place in the surround field.
So like when you're doing
a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. So when you're doing like Foley, like a guy walking around the hangar deck, do you attach the sound to his foot, or do you attach the sound to the floor, to where when the foot hits the floor, that section of the floor actually makes the sound? To the audience, it looks, like the sound.
Well, the end result's exactly the same. The sound emanates from the point where the foot touches the ground.
Right. Yep.
But it's actually on the foot itself. So
okay. But how would you know if it's gravel or grate or cement, or how would you know? How would the foot know?
I work with the artists to delineate every single panel on the ground in the game, everywhere you can walk. In fact, even surfaces that you can bump into have the kind of surface type written down, so that if you accidentally walk into the wall, it'll make the right kind of sound.
That's fantastic. Again, more immersion, right?
Right.
And then probably we'll have the guy going "ow" or something like that. So that's even more sounds.
Yeah, that would come up from his head area.
Yeah.
Not from the ground.
That's exactly. And now that'll be wherever the camera is at the moment. Will you get different sounds or different feels for it? Like
exactly. You'll hear that kind of footfall technology is on all the NPCs walking around the deck, as well as your own character and your own. If you're in a multiplayer scenario and you see your teammates standing there, you will hear all of their footsteps from the right place on the loudspeakers.
That's amazing.
So if someone walks from right to left, you'll hear the sounds go from right to left.
So you're working on the Hangar then, right? You're going to be
Right.
doing some effects for that. So what kind of cool sounds can we expect? And maybe not day one, but as the Hangar evolves.
Well, in order to give the idea that you're in a really working world, there's a lot of other hangars in addition to your hangar, and you can hear the sounds coming through the walls and through the hangar door that doesn't open. So to get you really tantalized, you'll be standing around going, what is that? Is that people arguing on the other side of the door? Is that a ship flying by? Are those forklifts, hoists? What is that public address person saying?
Like Charlie Brown?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of that. It's basically air traffic control, letting people take off and land and that kind of stuff.
That's kind of cool.
There'll be a lot of those sounds. Inside the hangar, you will hear a very, fairly quiet ambience of your own ship as it kind of ticks over and it's in a standby mode, ready for you to get into it. You may hear some steam vents or whatever's going on with
And when we finally allow you to get into the ship, wherever version that ends up being, then you'll have the sounds attached to that too. So
climbing in and activating your ship and the engines.
Very, very cool. It's going to be fun to do. Yeah. I mean, we've done games together as we talked about before, but I don't think we've ever done anything this big.
No, this is certainly going to be the biggest game and the deepest level of detail.
Mm-hmm. So what are you looking forward to the most? What are you personally looking forward to about Star Citizen? What do you think?
I think I have a great badass sound setup, and I'm really looking forward to being in a dogfight. And I would say hearing shrapnel and pieces of the ship you just blew up fly from front to back as you fly through the explosion cloud.
And you can actually hear it going down this.
A lot of older games just have an explosion sound. It's kind of a mono wave file. It plays over there if the explosion's over there or right in front.
Right.
But our explosions are going to be fully in surround and full of little shrapnel-y bits that kind of tinkle and fizz.
They tinkle.
The ship's still on fire, basically. Whatever the remnants
Exploding tinkles.
Exactly. Whatever the remnants are of the ship you just blew up will kind of fly past you if you keep flying on straight through the explosion.
So if you bump into a body, it's going to give a thud.
Sorry about that.
Or not. Meant to do that.
Right. So that'll be pretty cool. There'll be music and lots of other sound effects going on, but it'll be nice to really get visceral with explosions.
Right. I mean, we're pushing the envelope as far as look, as far as feel, and obviously, audially, we're pushing it as well. Mm-hmm. Now, you've also done a few voices in games.
True.
True? Do you plan to be in Star Citizen?
That's part of my plan. I don't think Chris has seen that plan yet. My plan is to do about 75% of
Can I get in on that plan too?
You can do the other 25%.
Okay, that's fine. 25% is great. Now, we've done voices together. We've done voice work like that. So, maybe we'll put we'll hide some in there for some, Well, Chris will never look at everything.
It's funny, my friends always seem to be able to recognize my voice.
Yeah, mine too. That's
One or two lines here and there, my voice comes out, and they're like, oh yeah.
We're going to have lasers in the game, and we're going to have alien lasers. So how would one supremely incredible audio director go about making an alien laser?
Well, you think about the science fiction and the technology behind the alien lasers, and our Van Duel race are, in my view, fairly well understandable technology. They have a lot of metal pieces, moving animation. It looks like they're built in factories. They're not like squirted out of some energy field and floating around by some magical energy. It's not magic. It's like a real spaceship that has pieces.
Sure.
And so there's a lot of mechanism type feel to it, and at the same time we want to still have that otherworldly science fiction feel. So I use a bunch of elements that have half of a kind of a mechanical feel and half of that sci-fi, alluding to yesteryear's aliens in some cases.
Okay.
And that's what we've got right now.
Can we hear a couple?
Let me show you the various elements. I'm not sure how
we're going to show it. Yeah.
Interesting this is going to be, but we'll go through the various sounds. Okay, that's pretty standard one there.
So these are all the different sounds you're using to blend together?
You can't hear these individual elements. When you hear them all, you hear the main laser.
Right, and I'm counting 13 of them up there.
Yeah. And I've got the volume balance to get the most important ones to play louder.
Right.
I fade them out.
How long would it take you to make this sound effect, for instance? to make just this one laser sound?
This particular one is actually scouring through a bunch of sounds and making individual elements, and you kind of allot a budget of time. You say to yourself, I'm going to spend 2 hours honing this kind of stuff.
Right.
And you collect a whole bunch of elements together, and you substitute, you take them out, you put them in, you bring them in, and, you know, line them up. And you can also, if you slide them around in time relative to each other, you can certainly change the character of the sound. It can be kind of a ba-ding, or it can just be a bah. You know, if everything plays at once,
just a bah,
and a sharp punch, then that's a different kind of thing to an elongated one that has multiple.
Well, let's hear
phases.
what they all sound like together then.
All right, here we go.
So this would be the final, and out of that comes you condense that into one wave file.
Yeah, one mono file. Yeah.
Wow, and that goes into the game, and so you have 13 elements creating just one.
Right, that's one of the weapons that you can fit to the Van Duel fighter when you fly that.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be 2 or more of those sounds playing from each wing of your ship.
Gee, many Christmas.
You know, and you'll hear
missile
you'll hear
sound.
a lot because it auto repeats quite a bit, so you'll hear a lot of stuff.
Very incredible. All right,
and everything else too.
That's cool. So everybody, that's Martin Galway. Say hi to everybody.
Hi everyone.
If he's the one, the audio's going to be amazing. It's his fault. We're all happy about that.
Sorry about that. It's going to be great.
All right, let's go back to the set.
Thanks, Martin. That was really interesting. Want to thank him for joining us today. Joseph, Fireball, and Merck Corporation for their generous gifts. Subscribers and pledgers, without you guys, there is no us. Always thanks to everybody. Coming up next week, we have a Montreal invasion. Our partners from Behavior are down. And don't forget, Jump Point comes out today. We have the Aurora brochure. And we have well, just wait. Watch the comm link today. There's some pretty cool special stuff coming up. And don't forget the after show, Wingman's Hangover. About 15 minutes after the show. Come into the chat roll. We'll sit there and we'll chat. We'll do a little broadcast and we'll talk. You guys can tell us what worked, what didn't work, what you thought of the new segments, what you thought of did you miss the old ones? Stuff like that. Just come on in the chat roll and we'll talk directly. It's kind of like a Skype interview kind of thing. Remember, if you want your stuff featured on Wingman's Hangar, send it in. We just might use it. See ya in the verse.